Just three words that can change your life forever. I want a divorce. I remember with mine, when my wife told me she wanted a divorce, I was sitting outside on the bench and I just remember looking down at the ground thinking, is this real? Am I like losing my marbles? I felt absolutely numb. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there feeling absolutely empty. And maybe you found yourself over here because you're going through the same thing. And I want you to know that you're not alone. There are many men going through this at the moment, and I wanted to share a bit of my experiences through this to hopefully make this process a little bit easier for you. Because the process itself is gut wrenching. There's nothing easy about going through a divorce. So I remember with mine, once she told me that she wanted a divorce, immediately I was going into fix mode. How am I going to fix this? What am I going to do? Why did this happen? Did I do something wrong? Is there somebody else? All these questions going through your mind is what now? What next? But the reality is, by the time your wife has spoken to you about wanting a divorce, this has been a slow, long process for her as well. She's gone through the grief of losing you that's led her to come to this decision. Sometimes they rehearse it for months on end, years, weeks. There's no predefined time, but by the time she's spoken to you about it, that she wants a divorce, emotionally, she's detached, she's left, she's tapped out of the relationship. So, by us thinking, how am I going to fix this, is actually not going to help anything. Women don't just wake up in the morning and say to themselves, I'm going to leave my husband today. It doesn't work like that. They grieve the loss of who they wanted you to be in the relationship. You might have been distracted by work, being a husband, chores, being a father, maybe even avoiding some of these hard conflicting conversations that your wife was trying to have with you. And by no means am I saying that you are the problem or that she's the problem. I'm saying that people change. At one stage in your guys' relationship, you guys were enough. You loved her, she loved you, you guys got married. You could have even had kids together. But the important part to remember is people change. And it becomes really tricky when people are changing away from each other. You're not aligned anymore. And from a emotional point in a relationship, that is where the issues come along, right? So generally, we as men just feel that if we can keep my wife happy, she'll be happy, I'll be happy. What to say? Happy wife, happy life. But there's a lot more to it. You might have even heard your wife saying, I just don't have that emotional connection with you anymore. I really care about you as a person, but I'm not in love with you anymore. There's various reasons that happen. So once you've moved into damn, I need to fix this, what can I do? Um, you'll find a lot of men start begging, start crying, weeping at her to give him another chance. You're trying to apologize. You're apologizing for things that you don't even know that you're apologizing for. You say things that you think she wants to hear. You change who you are. You might start doing things that she enjoys doing because you think that's going to fix things. But again, she's emotionally tapped out. She's left this relationship, right? The probability was that this was not an easy decision for her either. It was probably the hardest thing she's ever had to do. So if you find yourself in this predicament, I want you to know that the journey ahead of you is really hard. It's a very hard, painful journey. There's a lot of emotions that are going to come up, rejection that's going to come up. You start questioning who you are as a man. You feel as if you failed as a man. And once you question yourself as a man, that is when things start going haywire. You start feeling, I wouldn't say crazy, but one moment you're angry, you want to block her, you want nothing to do with her. The next moment, you're finding yourself scrolling through photos, trying to put the puzzle pieces together on when did this all go wrong that you just missed. You start rehearsing conversations that you guys have had, really trying to understand where this disconnect started. Why didn't she just come to me and tell me, I'm really unhappy and it's heading towards a divorce feeling? And that is not how this works. It's a gradual process that happens. And I really want to talk to you guys about getting through this initial stage to prepare yourself for what's about to come. There's two ways it's going to go down. It's either going to go down amicably, where you and her can work through this and grow through this, and it'll be a lot easier, or it's going to be really painful and hard, where she's going to be totally disconnected from you. And in most cases, some relationships actually become really painful. And in a lot of times, cohabiting is a real thing. I mean, the two of you shared a home together. It's not as easy just to pack up your stuff and go and live in a different house, because there's financials involved. A lot of the time there's kids involved. But the important part is to look after yourself. And that's what I want to talk about today. The first thing that you can try and do is to try and process what is going on in your mind by means of talking. If you've got somebody in your life that is a safe space for you to confide in, that would be a great opportunity. A lot of the time, we don't want to show our vulnerability by crying in front of people, but what you're going through now is really hard. It's traumatic. It's one of the most traumatic things that a person can go through. So by suppressing it and saying, I'm just going to pretend like this didn't happen, that's not going to work. This is happening. She is asking for a divorce, and it's going to happen. The thing that you need to try and do is just stay with what's in your control, right? Winning her back should not be your focus. You need to focus on rebuilding yourself. And how do you do that? You do it with small steps, one small step at a time. The first thing to do is look after yourself. Eat properly, try and get some sleep, even though I know that's one of the hardest things to do, is to get some form of sleep. Personal hygiene, have a shower, brush your teeth, get to the gym if you can, go for walks if you don't have a gym nearby. One of the really good things that you can start doing is journaling. Now, if you're like me, somebody that doesn't particularly enjoy writing and in journaling, send yourself voice notes. Open WhatsApp, anything that you want to do, and send yourself a voice note. Because the trauma that you got stored in your body at the moment needs to come out. All those questions, even if you're asking questions to somebody that's not listening, yourself being a voice note, asking those questions is releasing energy that needs to come out. Then the next day will just be a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit easier. It's by no means going to be easy overnight. Some people find that even after 2-3 years, they're still grieving. You also need to keep your focus on yourself only. Even if you've got kids, this is the time you need to be strong for yourself. Because for you to be a strong father, or a good father as well, is you got to be a healthy you. So I know that's easier said than done, because you've got responsibilities and chores, and co-parenting is not easy. So another thing that we need to remember is you're going to have a lot of questions for her, right? Write down your questions that you want to ask her. Whether it was, is there somebody else? It doesn't matter what the questions that you want to ask her. Write down the questions that you wanted answers to. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of the time your mind is rushing through all of these questions, trying to figure things out. And that becomes what is essentially overwhelming. which leaves you feeling very numb with pain and confusion on what to do next. If your spouse is not in a position that wants to talk to you about answering any of these questions, then it'll be a good idea to seek professional help who might be able to help you navigate through some of these questions. Because essentially you're grieving the loss of somebody that's still alive. And that's one of the hardest things you can go through. This person's alive, I love this person, and I've just lost this person. But I want you to know that you're not alone. This process is hard, it's gut-wrenching, it's long as well. But it can also change your life for the good. And that's what I want you to understand and hear today. My message to you is that just keep on going. Don't give up. In a year's time, I can guarantee you, if you've done the work, you're going to look back and you're going to thank yourself that you didn't give up. You're going to thank yourself for carrying on, because you're going to become a much stronger person and version of yourself. You're also going to look back and think to yourself, I was trying to chase somebody that didn't want to be part of my life. Nobody should ever beg to be part of someone's life. If somebody doesn't want to be part of your life, have the self-respect and dignity to let them go. Matter of fact, if someone doesn't want to be part of your life, help them leave. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. You gotta let them go. And I know that sounds really hard to go through, especially if you've been with somebody for a very long time. Life will get better and your situation will get better. I also want you to understand that I'm going to be here for you through this process. I do intend on having live sessions on YouTube where I want you guys in the community to ask questions, where I could potentially give guidance on, share my lived experience with you. Sometimes it's just good to know that there's somebody out there that's willing to listen and talk. And I'll be that person, because I know how hard it is to talk to somebody when you feel so alone and lost and confused. And also, if you want me to talk about any specific topics, feel free to mention it below in the comments. I'll be more than willing to talk about these things. And also, consider subscribing and becoming part of this community. This pain that you're currently going through, it's teaching you something. What you're going through now doesn't define who you are as a man. It doesn't define who you are as a person. But it surely as well does not define what your future looks like. Your happiness is in your own hands. It is in your control to turn this around. So just to close this off, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. Like I said, it's not an easy process. It's a long, hard, emotional, traumatic experience. But I want to emphasize that you are not alone. There is a community out there that is very relatable to how you're feeling. Like I said, I will be here all the way. If you need any support and guidance, I'm always available to chat. Just reach out and take care of yourself. Till next time, look after yourself. Keep going. Keep rebuilding yourself. Cheers, brother.